Hello, class. This is the Everyday Thing, American English File, 2nd edition, Book 2, Student Book, Part 8b. If something can go wrong. Everyone, look at the picture. What do you see? They are at the airport. Yes, you guessed it right. And where are they? They are in a line. In a line. So part A, if you are waiting to check in at the airport and you change lines, what will usually happen? Do you have any idea? What do you do? Discuss this with your partner. Good. Now part B, read the first two paragraphs of the article and check who was Murphy and what is his law. All right? This is on you. Read it and answer the questions.
A few moments later.
Good. You're back. Now let's read it together. It always happens. If you are in a check-in line and you change to another line that is moving more quickly, what will happen? The line you were in before will suddenly start moving faster. What will happen if you take your umbrella because you think it's going to rain later? It won't rain, of course. It will only rain if you forget to take your umbrella. These are examples of Murphy's Law, which says if there is something that can go wrong, it will go wrong. Murphy's Law took its name from Captain Edward Murphy, an American aerospace engineer from the 1940s. He was trying to improve safety for pilots flying military planes. Not surprisingly, he got a reputation for always thinking of the worst thing that could happen in every situation. Well, all right, so who was Murphy and what was his law? Murphy was an American aerospace engineer. His law is if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. He was a little bit pessimistic, to be exact. Well done. Good. Now that you know what is Murphy's Law, we have some examples here for air travel, shopping, driving, social life. Look at the 8 examples of Murphy's Law in the article and match them with sentences A to H. So again, it's on you. Read and match.
A few minutes later.
Nicely done. Now, let's match it together. Air travel. Number 1, if you get to the airport early, A, your flight will be delayed. Yeah, pessimistic. Number 2, if you want to sleep on the plane, G, there will be a hyperactive 5-year-old in the seat behind you. Oh yeah, those little children. Shopping. Number 3, if you are in a hurry, the person in front of you, E, will have a problem with his or her credit card. Number 4, if you take something that doesn't work back to the store, H, it will work when the salesperson tries it. Driving. Number 5, if you're late for something important, D, all the traffic lights will be red. Now, it happened to me, really. Number 6, if you park a long way from a restaurant, C, you will find a parking space right in front of it. Social life. Number 7, if you are single and you meet somebody at a party who you really like, F, he or she will already have a partner. And why is he or she alone there? Number 8, if you wear a new white shirt or dress, B, you will spill coffee on it. Very good. Now you exactly know what is Murphy's Law. Now I have another question for you. Do any of these things or things like this, right, similar things, often happen to you? Well, speak with your friends. Share your experiences. This is on you. Part 2, grammar. My friends, today we're going to talk about if. Now first, do you remember these laws? Murphy's Law. If you get to the airport early, your plane will probably have a delay, right? Okay, now everyone, look at the sentences again. What tense is the verb after if? And what tense is the other verb? Do you remember? All right. For example, if you're in a hurry, the person in front of you will have a problem with his or her credit card. Or for example, if you take something that doesn't work back to the store, it will work when the salesperson tries it. So, the first verb after if is the simple present. For example, if you get to the airport early, if you want to sleep on the plane, if you are in a hurry. The other verb is in the future. The future, right? For example, if you get to the airport early, your plane will have a delay. Or for example, if you're late for something important, all the lights will be red. Right? Okay, so will or won't plus the base form. But that's just the start. Follow me. Looking good. You're here. Everybody, listen and practice.
4.2. 1.
If I miss the last bus, I'll take a taxi.
If you tell her the truth, she won't believe you.
What will you do if he doesn't call you?
2. If you don't go, she won't be very happy.
She won't be very happy if you don't go.
3. If you miss the last bus, take a taxi.
If you miss the last bus, you can take a taxi.
Good. Now, as you can see, these are the conditionals, and this is the first conditional. Use if plus present to talk about a possible situation. For example, if I miss the last bus, if you tell her the truth, all right? If you don't go, this is the possible situation. And will and won't plus the base form to talk about the consequence, the result. If I miss the last bus, I'll take a taxi. If you tell her the truth, she won't believe you, all right? The if clause can come first or second. If the if clause comes first, usually put a comma before the next clause, all right? For example, if you tell her the truth, comma, she won't believe you. And the last point, you can also use the imperative or can plus the base form instead of will plus the base form in the other clause. Okay, look at this one. If you miss the last bus, take a taxi. Imperative, take a taxi. All right? Or call your friend. All right? Or if you miss the last bus, you can take a taxi. Can plus the base form. Instead of will or won't plus the base form. All right? Now, if you agree, let's practice together. It's really easy, just to make sure that you understand. Well, all right. Now, these are the exercises for first conditional, if clause. A, match the sentence haves. If you leave now, C. You see, the C is crossed out. You'll catch the 8 o'clock train. Right? And the next one, complete with the correct form of the verbs. If we start walking, the bus will come. All right? You know the drill. Stop the video. Take your time. Do it yourself. All right. If you're ready, let's do it together. Number 1, the ticket will be cheaper. D, if you travel after 9. Number 2, if I don't see you this afternoon. G, I'll call you this evening. Number 3, you'll learn more quickly. E, if you come to every class. Okay? Number 4, if you get that new job. F, will you earn more money? Number 5, you won't pass your driving test. A, if you don't take enough lessons. And the last one, if I lend you this book. B, Will you give it back to me soon? Good. Now part B. If you tell me your secret, I won't tell anybody else. Number 2. If I don't write it down, I won't remember it. Number 3. It's a question. Will you call me if you get any news? Number 4. She'll help you if you ask her nicely. Number 5. I'll call you if I hear from Alex. Number 6. You'll miss your friends if you move to Paris. Number 7. If you listen carefully, you'll understand everything. Number 8. The wasp won't be happy if you are late for work. The last one. I'll drive you home if you give me directions. And that's all there is to it. Good. Now time to show me your skills. In pairs, complete these Murphy's laws. All right? We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna wait for you.
12 seconds later.
Good. Now these are some of my answers. For example, if you find something in a store that you really like, they won't have your size, right? Or if you stop waiting for a bus and start walking, the bus will come, right? Now these are some of the examples. Now I need you to compare your laws with your other friends, all right? Do you have the same or similar experience? Okay. Speak with your partners and compare your sentences. Part 3. Pronunciation, linking, sound linking. Everybody, most people ask me, how can I speak naturally? How can I speak like an American? Well, there's your answer. Listen and repeat the sentences. Try to link the marked words, okay? Listen and practice.
4.3. 1,
If I see her, I'll tell her.
2,
We'll go if it doesn't rain.
3,
If I get there early, I'll order the food.
4,
They'll arrive at 8 if their flight's on time.
5,
If you aren't in a hurry, we can walk.
And my friends, that is called linking. Now, listen and write 5 more sentences. What do? You listen and write. Okay.
4.4. 1,
If you don't eat something, you'll be hungry later.
2,
I'm sure she'll come if you ask her.
3,
You'll earn more money if you work on weekends.
4,
If the movie's in Chinese, we won't understand a word.
5,
If I cook lunch, will you cook dinner?
Good. Now these are the sentences. If you don't eat something, you'll be hungry later. Number 2, I'm sure she'll come if you ask her. Number 3, you'll earn more money if you work on weekends. Number 4, if the movie's in Chinese, we won't understand a word. Number 5, if I cook lunch, will you cook dinner? All right, you're doing great. Let's continue. Part 4, vocabulary. Everybody, confusing verbs. What does it mean? All right, let's start with a question. What's the difference between know and meet and wear and carry? What is the difference? All right, speak with your partner. You can Google it as well. Do it. Good. Now, let me show you. Know, have met and seen somebody before. Meet, get to know somebody for the first time. Wear, have on your body, for example, clothes, glasses. Carry, have something in your hand, for example, a bag or an umbrella, right? These are the differences. Now, follow me. Good, you're here. First, look at the pictures. All right, look at number 1. All right, please let me pass. What is this guy doing? He's waiting. He's looking at his watch, right? Okay, hope that something good will happen. Hope to do something. Wait for a bus. Wait for a long time. That's number 1. Everybody, match the verbs with the pictures. Do it now. All right? Whenever you're ready, let's listen and check. Okay? Ready? Let's do it.
4.5. Confusing verbs. 2,
Wear jewelry. Carry a bag.
8,
Win a medal. Earn a salary.
5,
Know somebody well. Meet somebody for the first time.
1,
Hope that something good will happen. Wait for a bus.
3,
Watch TV. Look at a photo.
11,
Look happy. Look like your mother.
4,
Miss the bus. Lose a game.
9,
Bring your dictionary. Take an umbrella.
6,
Look for your glasses. Find your glasses.
10,
Say sorry. Tell a joke.
7,
Lend money to somebody. Borrow money from somebody.
And that's confusing verbs for you. One more thing, everybody, hope and expect. Hope to want something to happen and think it will happen always, always for a positive thing or positive things. For example, I hope I'll pass the exam. Expect to think that something will happen, usually for a reason, not necessarily a positive thing. For example, I expect I'll fail because I haven't worked very hard. The other point, look and look like. After look, we use an adjective or an age. For example, you look good, right? It's an adjective. After look like, we use a noun. For example, you look like a model. That's another point for you. Let's continue. Now, let me test your skills on vocabulary and verbs. Circle the right verb, the verbs that I showed you, the confusing verbs. Then ask and answer with a partner. All right? Let's do it together first. Who do you look like in your family? Number 2, how many classes have you missed this year? Number 3, what gadgets do you always take with you when you go on a vacation or when you go on vacation? Number 4, do you think sports people earn too much money? Number 5, what is the best way to meet new friends, right? And number 6, is it sometimes okay to tell a lie? Tell a lie. All right, discuss these questions with your partner. Speak with your friends.
3 days later.
Good discussion, but that's not the end. Listening with a partner. Think of 3 things that could go wrong when you are on a vacation. For example, a storm comes, you lose your wallet, you lose your passport, all right? or you get scammed or something, think of 3 things and write them down. Now, match the words to their definitions. For example, number 1, a monsoon, all right? E, when it rains very heavily for 3 months or more, okay? All right, do it. Okay, let's do it together. Number 2, an earthquake. G, when the ground suddenly shakes very strongly. A tsunami. D, a very large wave in the ocean. Number 4, a cyclone. B, a very strong wind that moves in a circle like this, right? Number 5, a blizzard, all right? A very bad storm with snow and strong winds. Number 6, a flood. F, when there is too much water in a river and it comes onto the streets or yards. And the last one, a forest fire. C, a big fire that can destroy many trees and houses. Well done. Now we go to the real deal. Good, you're here. Now everyone, first look at the picture. The Swanstrom family. Read the title. Vacation couple survived 7 natural disasters. And this is the map of their trip. Listen to what happened to Mr. and Mrs. Swanstrom. Mark their route on the map. Okay, this is the map. You have to mark the route. What natural disaster happened in each place? All right, you know the drill. Listen and answer.
4.6. And to finish our program today, the incredible story of a Swedish couple who went on vacation and survived no fewer than 7 natural disasters. Stefan and Erika Svanstrom started their 4-month trip last December. They were traveling with their young baby daughter. First, they flew from Stockholm to Munich. But when they arrived in Munich, they couldn't get their connecting flight to Thailand because there was a terrible blizzard in South Germany. The worst snowstorm in 100 years. They had to wait at the airport for 24 hours. Mrs. Svanstrom said,
"We just thought things will get better."
When they finally got to Thailand, they had a relaxing few weeks. But that was the last time they could really relax. From Thailand, they flew to the island of Bali in Indonesia, a popular vacation destination. When they arrived in Bali, they were expecting blue skies and sun. But what they got were terrible monsoon rains, the worst monsoons for many years. Mrs. Svanstrom said,
"Now we were thinking, what will happen next?"
They decided not to stay in Bali, but to go to Australia. They flew to Perth in Western Australia, but hours after they arrived, Perth suffered terrible forest fires, and the streets were full of smoke. They traveled north to Cairns and arrived just in time for Cyclone Yasi, one of the worst cyclones ever to hit the city. They had to leave their hotel and spend 24 hours in a shopping center with 2,500 other people. Could things get any worse? Yes, they could. The Svanstrom family left Cairns and traveled south to Brisbane to visit friends. But the city was suffering from the worst floods in its history. So they left Brisbane and booked airline tickets to Christchurch in New Zealand. But just before their plane left Brisbane, some friends called them to say that Christchurch had been hit by an earthquake and a large part of the city was destroyed. Their plane landed in another city, Auckland. They traveled around New Zealand for a while, and then they flew to Japan. On March 11th, they were having lunch in a restaurant in Tokyo, when suddenly everything began to shake. It was an earthquake. 9 on the Richter scale, and one of the worst that ever hit Japan. And after the earthquake came a devastating tsunami. Fortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Svanstrom and their child were not hurt. They traveled from Japan to China for the last part of their vacation. Luckily, they didn't have any more natural disasters, and they arrived safely home in Stockholm on March 29th. Mr. Svanstrom said,
We have learned that in life you should always expect the worst but hope for the best. Also, you need to be prepared for anything.
I guess they won't be going on a vacation for a long, long time, if you know what I mean.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
Okay, so let's check your answers. Yeah, they started from Stockholm to Munich, then Thailand to Bali, Indonesia, Perth to Cairns and Brisbane, and after that Auckland to Tokyo, and China to Stockholm again. So what happened in Munich? A blizzard. In Bali, monsoon. In Perth, forest fires. In Cairns, cyclone. In Brisbane, floods. And in Tokyo, Japan, earthquake and tsunami. Now you're going to listen again and answer the questions. We have 7 questions. All right? Time to listen again.
4.6. And to finish our program today, the incredible story of a Swedish couple who went on vacation and survived no fewer than 7 natural disasters. Stefan and Erika Svanstrom started their 4-month trip last December. They were traveling with their young baby daughter. First, they flew from Stockholm to Munich. But when they arrived in Munich, they couldn't get their connecting flight to Thailand because there was a terrible blizzard in South Germany, the worst snowstorm in 100 years. They had to wait at the airport for 24 hours. Mrs. Svanstrom said,
We just thought things will get better.
When they finally got to Thailand, they had a relaxing few weeks. But that was the last time they could really relax. From Thailand, they flew to the island of Bali in Indonesia, a popular vacation destination. When they arrived in Bali, they were expecting blue skies and sun. But what they got were terrible monsoon rains, the worst monsoons for many years. Mrs. Svanstrom said,
Now we were thinking, what will happen next?
They decided not to stay in Bali, but to go to Australia. They flew to Perth in Western Australia, but hours after they arrived, Perth suffered terrible forest fires, and the streets were full of smoke. They traveled north to Cairns and arrived just in time for Cyclone Yasi, one of the worst cyclones ever to hit the city. They had to leave their hotel and spend 24 hours in a shopping center with 2,500 other people. Could things get any worse? Yes, they could. The Svanstrom family left Cairns and traveled south to Brisbane to visit friends. But the city was suffering from the worst floods in its history. So they left Brisbane and booked airline tickets to Christchurch in New Zealand. But just before their plane left Brisbane, some friends called them to say that Christchurch had been hit by an earthquake and a large part of the city was destroyed. Their plane landed in another city, Auckland. They traveled around New Zealand for a while, and then they flew to Japan. On March 11th, they were having lunch in a restaurant in Tokyo, when suddenly everything began to shake. It was an earthquake. 9 on the Richter scale, and one of the worst that ever hit Japan. And after the earthquake came a devastating tsunami. Fortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Svanstrom and their child were not hurt. They traveled from Japan to China for the last part of their vacation. Luckily, they didn't have any more natural disasters, and they arrived safely home in Stockholm on March 29th. Mr. Svanstrom said,
We have learned that in life you should always expect the worst but hope for the best. Also, you need to be prepared for anything.
All right. Now check your answers with your friends. Good. Number 1, how long did they have to wait at Munich airport? 24 hours. Number 2, what weather were they expecting in Bali? Number 2, sunny weather. Number 3, where were the streets full of smoke? Perth. Number 4, where did they sleep in Cairns? In a shopping center. Number 5, why did they fly to Auckland and not to Christchurch in New Zealand? Because Christchurch had been hit by an earthquake. All right. Next one, number 6, what were they doing when the Japanese earthquake struck? They were having lunch. And the last one, where did they go for the last part of their vacation? Did anything happen to them there? They went to China and nothing happened. One last thing, do you think they were lucky or unlucky? Why? All right, this is for you to discuss. Speak with your friend. And that is the lesson for today. If you have a question, you can comment it down below and I will answer you as soon as possible. And if you like my work, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you very soon, my friend. It's the everyday thing. Practice every day.